wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you.
are spent on your last pretense, and your tired eyes refuse to close and sleep in your defense. When it's in your spine, like you've walked for miles, and the only thing you want is just to be still for a while. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. And if your heart wears thin, I will hold you up, and I will hide you. When it gets too much, I'll be right beside you. I'll be right beside you. When you're
Family and friends,
overwhelmed
good morning.
and
If I
you've
could have your
lost
attention at
your
this time, I want to
breath,
ask if there's any family
and the
that's sitting in
space
the
between
sanctuary
the
that would like to
things you
sing with the
know
family.
is blurry
I'm gonna ask that you listen
nonetheless.
to
When you try
And I'm
to
gonna ask if there's any family
speak,
that would like to
but you
sing.
make no sound,
Thank you.
and the words you want are out of reach, but they've never been so late. If your heart wears thin, I will hold you up, and I will hide you. When it gets too much, I'll be right beside you. I'll be right beside you. I will stay. Nobody will break you. Yeah. Trust in me, don't pull away. Just trust in me, 'cause I'm just trying to keep it together, 'cause I could do worse and you could do better. Tears are spent on your last pretense, and your tired eyes refuse to close and sleep in your defense. And if your heart wears thin, I will hold you up, and I will hide you. When it gets too much, I'll be right beside you. Nobody will break you. And if your heart wears thin, I will hold you up, and
your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
It's also just a really great day, you know.
'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priya Prakash. And though I met Aesha as one of her doctors, more importantly, she was a dear friend of mine. On behalf of the Jackson family, I want to welcome and thank you all for being here today. Not only to remember Aesha Louise Jackson, but also to celebrate her and her beautiful life. I know Aesha has had an impact as a daughter, a sister, a friend, and family to everyone in this room. And I know for me, in one of the most meaningful ways. Aesha always had a light around her, and what I will always remember is her infectious smile that she brought into a room regardless of the circumstances surrounding her. She inspired me in many ways, but most importantly, to be brave, to be kind, to be generous, and to unconditionally love. It is with gratitude that I'm here to remember and celebrate such a beautiful life and spirit. It is clear by everyone in this room that Aesha is loved, and her spirit will be with us and impact us in meaningful ways. As we move through life, she will always be with us as well. I would like to welcome you all and thank you. And we will start with the first reading of the first poem by Rebecca Leonard Smith Tweed and Ava Santucci, When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou.
When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes, briefly, see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid and promised walks never taken.
Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Thank you.
We'll next have Reflections by Manju Connolly and Gina and Demetric Francis.
Hello. First, I would like to acknowledge the Christ Temple Baptist Church, who has made an expression of sympathy to the family of Aesha. I would also like to read a resolution from the Coalition on Urban Girls Chicago, one of the organizations that Aesha worked with. Resolution of love for Aesha Louise Jackson. Whereas, Aesha Louise Jackson was a remarkable leader whose organizational skill, gentle resolve, and unwavering passion created order from chaos, built bridges within our community, and inspired all who worked alongside her. We acknowledge that Aesha served as project manager for the Coalition on Urban Girls at a crucial time, guiding the development of the forthcoming white paper, Are the Girls Well? Reimagining Well-Being for Girls in Chicago, ensuring the voices of girls, researchers, staff, and stakeholders were woven together into a cohesive vision of health, safety, and empowerment for urban girls. Aesha's commitment, care, and brilliance brought clarity to complex tasks, helping us set a firm foundation for this significant piece of work, and her influence will continue to shape the strategies and actions that improve the lives of girls in the Chicagoland area and beyond. Whereas, Aesha's loving spirit and resolute determination were nurtured by the sacrificial love and support of her parents, who provided her with opportunities, experiences, and values that enabled her to become the extraordinary woman who so generously contributed to our mission, an example that inspires us all. We, the Coalition on Urban Girls, desire to ensure that Aesha's contributions and devotion live on through the lasting impact of this work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Coalition on Urban Girls honors the legacy of Aesha Louise Jackson by dedicating the Are the Girls Well? Reimagining Well-Being for Girls in Chicago white paper, set for release in February 2025 to her memory, so that her name and spirit will forever be linked to the health, wellness, and safety of girls in Chicago and beyond. Be it further resolved that we will strive to uphold and advance the initiatives and collaborations that Aesha championed, working tirelessly so that girls received the support, respect, and opportunities they need to flourish, ensuring that when we asked, Are the girls well?, we can one day answer with an emphatic, resounding yes. Be it finally resolved that we extend our deepest condolences to Aesha's family and loved ones during this time of profound loss, and we pledge our ongoing support and gratitude for sharing such a remarkable young woman with our community. And I have a couple of personal words. I grew up with Aesha, and we played soccer together for many years in grade school and then went to the same high school. I would like to thank the Jackson family for allowing me to be part of this pre-past and funeral for Aesha. She is someone special indeed. I'm sure that for all those who knew her, it's easy to conjure a memory of Aesha coming up to you, her face breaking into a smile or laugh, one that can only mean that you are loved, and I'm so glad to see you. Her infectious positivity is outmatched only by her resolve. Aesha's resolve drove an unshakable work ethic and commitment to doing a good job. Her resolve drove her to get an engineering degree and contribute to the advancement of women and the empowerment of women, much like the resolution that I just read, both formal and everyday settings. Her resolve gave off the vibes of, I'm proud to be a woman, I'm proud to be me, let me show you what I can do. Her resolve drove her resilience through her diagnosis to continue prioritizing her family, friendships, and volunteering, even though frustrating and heartbreaking events occurred. And Aesha's resolve is what magnetized so many of us towards her. If you were with her, you were part of something greater. I hope that we can acknowledge Aesha's unwavering resolve and aspire to carry it forward through our work ethic and our commitment to causes that we care about, just like Aesha did. Thank you.
We next have the musical selection with Jalen White, Love is in Need of Love Today, and I Will Always Love You. I'm sorry, I apologize, guys. Further Reflections by Gina and Demetric Francis.
Good morning. Demetric and I are Aesha's godparents. When I received word of Aesha's request for a tea with the most profound women in her life, and that she wanted us to wear yellow. I knew that that was a signal that Aesha wanted us to not be sad. Well, she wouldn't mind if we'd be sad for a minute, but she wouldn't want us to be stuck on sad. She would want us to celebrate, to have a good time, and so we shall. When Anne asked me to be Aesha and Ashan's godmother, I knew she had great expectations. I knew this was no play, fairy godmother task. I knew this was a for real godmother undertaking. She was not playing. We met in Wilmington, North Carolina through our sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. And Anne shared with me her experiences with her godmother. Not only did she tell me about her godmother, but she told me about Mark's godmother and Lachelle's godmother. And she made sure that I understood that in the Wilborn family, godparenthood was a serious matter. And just to make sure that I understood, she gave me sort of a refresher course in it just before becoming Aesha and Ashan's godparents. And she again told me about Mark's godmother and Lachelle's godmother. So I thought I was ready to be a godmother, or so I thought. I passed my first unofficial test as Aesha and Ashan's godparents with flying colors. But Demetric and I both flunked the first official task with a great big F. First for the unofficial and then the official. My first official assignment as Aesha and Ashan's godparents came about when they were about a few months old, and Anne asked me to come to Chicago and take care of them for a week. After a few moments of silence, I reminded Anne that I do not have children, and that in the words of Butterfly McQueen, I knew nothing about birthing or taking care of no children, especially 2 at a time. Well, Anne, in her very Anne not gonna take no for an answer kind of way, dismissed my concern and said, "Oh, you will be fine." When I shared with Demetric Anne's request, he laughed. I didn't see the humor in the matter because while I was honored Anne entrusted her babies with me, I was scared, but I was not about to tell her I was not coming to Chicago to take care of them, so off I went. And at the end of the week assignment, they had no broken bones, there were 10 fingers and 10 toes, and so I was good and proud of myself. I was feeling myself at that point. Well, apparently, I'd done real good because Anne was real desperate because a few months later, she asked me to come back for 2 weeks. This time, the assignment was a little more challenging because Aesha and Ashan were developing their communication skills, and they turned up the ante. They started crying and wanting things at the same time this time. They wanted to see what their godmother was made of, and at the end of those 2 weeks, I'm not gonna lie to you, while I survived it, I was ready to go home. My first official task as Aesha and Ashan's godparent, as I said, I did not pass with flying colors. Neither did Demetric. Because the morning of their christening, our alarm clocks did not go off. We lived in Detroit, and the christening was in Savannah. We looked at each other like 2 sad little puppies because neither one of us wanted to tell Anne that we were not going to be there for the christening. However, we took the next plane to Savannah and made the post-christening celebration at Anne's mother's house. Excuse me. The pastor who baptized Aesha and Ashan was a forgiving man. He brought the baptismal documents to Miss Wilborn's house for us to sign and reviewed with us the responsibilities of being godparents. Anne obviously forgave us too, but she told us sternly, "You better be at every graduation." We were at Aesha's middle school, high school, and IIT graduations. We did not pass go. We did not collect $200. We did not miss the plane to plane. We went straight to those graduations. And on Friday night, as we prepared to come here for these services, we set not one, not two, but 3 alarm clocks. Just as I have shared with you my Alpha experience with Aesha, I would like to share with you my Omega experience with her. My last conversation with Aesha was memorable. I told her that I bought a boat, to her godfather's dismay. What was so cool about that conversation was, for the first time, we talked not so much as goddaughter and godmother or child to adult. We talked as girls, as BFFs, as grown you-know-what women. There was a role reversal. Instead of me being supportive and encouraging of Aesha, Aesha was lifting me up. She was so excited about and extremely supportive of my decision to fulfill a bucket list wish of buying a boat. I regret that I did not have the opportunity to take Aesha out on the Miss Anne, which is what I named my boat in honor of my mother. As you know, Aesha's mother's name is also Anne. So I think a ride on the Miss Anne would have been especially meaningful to her and Ashan. No, I did not get to take them out on my boat, but I did get to impart to them my love for anything nautical and to be on the water. It's my happy place. It's calming, it's therapeutic, and it always brings me back center. I did not get a chance to take Aesha and Ashan out on the boat. I did, however, get to take them via ferry to visit the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse on the North Carolina Outer Banks. We went to Hatteras as a day trip. As we traveled back, it was sunset, and I shared with Aesha and Ashan some of the triumphs and tragedies of the Outer Banks. As we crossed the Pamlico Sound, I shared that the North Carolina Outer Banks area is the graveyard of the Atlantic because of its treacherous waters and numerous shipwrecks. I told Aesha and Ashan the Carolinas also serve as the graveyard of the Atlantic because it serves as the burial grounds for many of the African ancestors who did not survive the transatlantic slave trade voyage to America and the Caribbean, the Middle Passage. As for the triumphs, I shared that the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is the tallest lighthouse in the United States, and I made them climb all 257 steps of the lighthouse with me. And that the Outer Banks, Pea Island, is home to the first all-black Coast Guard unit led by Richard Etheridge, the first African-American keeper of a United States life-saving station at Pea Island, just north of Hatteras. It was a good day. The trip to Hatteras is perhaps one of my fondest memories of being their godmommy because it was the first time Demetric and I had them for an extended time by ourselves, and we spoiled them rotten and gave them back to Aubrey and Ann. Demetric wants to share some reflections of that time.
Now, there's another part to that. So, absolutely, we ran Aesha and Ashan up and down the coast, so at least by my wife's idea. So, if anybody knows Aesha and Ashan, you know you don't get between them and food. So, we needed to feed them after all of this. and certainly we needed to find a nice place. So my wife wanted to find a very nice place, because Aesha and Sean been trained by the Food Network. So and they're from Chicago, so we understand that they want the best. My thing, just get them fed. So I suggested let's go to the Bogue House. Bogue House was a local place, so we kind of talked about it a little bit back and forth. Fried fish, fried shrimp, collard greens. They tore through that food like nobody's business. And then a bit noticed the decor in that place, which was very plain and unnecessary in their eyes. So they got through all of that. Some years later, Aesha could not eat ice cream. Could not. At least when we went to Sean and Michelle's on 47th Street, she had to pass on it. I know she wanted it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, though, because she's got more bravery than a lot of these knuckleheads that get on social media and complain about everything. She's the bravest person I know. Thank you.
Though Aesha was here only a mere 29 years, I am at peace with her and Ashan's sunset. This is not our home or our final destination. What makes losing Aesha somewhat bearable is knowing she is no longer suffering and that she is with Ashan. And I don't know what you saw in me that made you want to make me Aesha and Ashan's godmother, but I am grateful and glad that you saw it and shared your babies with me. To you and Aubrey both, thank you for allowing Demetric and I to be Aesha and Ashan's godparents. Teddy Pendergrass sung a song called Cold, Cold World. For those of you who might not be familiar with the song, and I'm not going to dare try to sing it to you because when God gave out singing, I was in the back of the line. But for those of you who may not have heard the song, Pendergrass is singing to a friend who has fallen on hard times. And in the song, he says, "What do you think a friend is for? What do you think a friend is for?" And in the refrain of the song, he says, "Don't let this cold, cold world get you down. Don't do it." There's an African proverb that says, "It takes a village to raise a child." Thank you for allowing us to be among the tribal leaders of Aesha and Ashan's tribe. There's also an African tradition of a libation. The custom started in Egypt and spread throughout the world, throughout Africa and the rest of the world. So we're going to offer a libation to Aesha. We honor Aesha. We respect Aesha. We will remember Aesha from her parents, from her godmother Jackson and Wilborn, from the Wilborn family, the uncles and aunts and the aunties, the cousins, to the doctors, I believe it was Dr. Prescott, to the advocate that we met at the tea that you said advocated for Aesha, to her soccer teammates at IIT, affectionately known as the Wives, from her classmates, her teammates, to all who knew and loved Aesha. We offer this, fair winds and following seas. We love you.
next have the musical selection by Jalen White, Love in Need of Love Today, and I Will Always Love You.
Everybody, hello. Just want to say that I feel honored that Aesha wanted Manny and I to play today, and she will definitely be missed. So, the first song is "Love's in Need of Love Today" by Stevie Wonder.
Good morning or evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster, could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. Is that love's in need of a love today? Don't delay, send yours in right away. Heads gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. The force of evil plans to make you its possession, and it will if we let it destroy everybody. We all must take precautionary measures. If love and peace you treasure, then you'll hear me when I say, whoa, love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Oh, you know love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Heads gone round, breaking many hearts. So stop and please, before it's gone too far. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, it's gone. hearts. So stop and please before it's gone too far. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. So you got to, I've got to, they've got to, we've got to, they've got to stop before it's gone too far. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. So stop and please before it's gone too far. Oh, L-O-V-E, oh love, L-O-V-E, love. Oh, stop and please before it's gone too far. Just give the world love. So stop and please before it's gone too far. Just give the world love. If I should stay, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I'll know I'll think of you every step of the way. And I will always love you. I will always love you. You, oh my darling, you. Bittersweet memories, that is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye, please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need. And I will always love you. I will always love you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the reading of the second poem by Takira Olive Stalling, Invictus by William Henley.
Oh boy. So before I share the poem, I do want to take a time out to say why this poem is important. From a very young age, Aesha has always been very impressive, so much so that even one of her teachers noticed and stated that you are one of the hardest working students I have. I love your focus and drive. That is so rare at this stage, and I know that you will continue to achieve anything you set your mind to. Sorry. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And if anybody knew Aesha, they only know how true that is. She had a very commanding presence, one that was charged with authenticity and love, and one that I will miss deeply. Thank you.
We'll next have Reflections by Clifford Wilborn and Eric Cockle and the Wives.
Yes, I'm a little tall, so let me adjust this. Good afternoon, everyone, and it's a sad occasion to be back here 7 months ago. This is very difficult, but I'm glad Ann asked me to speak today. And Aubrey, my condolences to the entire family. I'm glad to see the Burke family and extended family, Jackson family here, so let me go. Reflecting on Aesha this December afternoon, I can't separate my thoughts without thinking about nephew Sean as well. Because in the same breath, Uncle Mark, as they called me, they're really inseparable. And in my mind and in my heart. And without any question, the greatest season that I always enjoyed was Christmas. Because at that time of the year was the one time that everybody in the family got together, typically in Savannah, Georgia at Granny's house. And I fondly remember greeting both Aesha and Sean each year visiting Savannah. And as I came into Savannah, I would drive down typically from Norfolk or wherever I was stationed, and you would see the Ford minivan out in the front yard, right? And Aubrey had jury-rigged the VCR TV combo in the back seat to keep the kids quiet. And during those holiday visits, Aesha would always greet me in the same manner she's done it always. She would say, "Hi, Uncle Mark. How are you doing?" With a big grin, a little subtle head turn, and that would be continued throughout her adult life. Sean, in turn, would always give me a big bear hug and smile and say, "Hey, Uncle Mark, how you doing?" But needless to say, Aesha loved that brother, and she would always stand up for him, and we'd have little discussions about life. She'd always come back and say, "That's a Sean, Uncle Mark," and we'd keep it moving. In many aspects, I viewed both of them as my kids because I got excited about birthdays, holidays, Christmas, because I would go out and try and find some of the nicest gifts for my two niece and nephew. And why? Because up until 13 years ago, they actually were my kids from afar. Because my first daughter was born 13 years ago, and throughout most of my life after college, they were my kids. And I really adored them and would do anything for them. A funny story, their grandmother called me 2 weeks before Christmas and said, "Hey, I need a gift. I can't find it." And can you imagine what that gift was? Tickle Me Elmo. And can you imagine me riding around Hampton Roads, Virginia, 2 weeks before Christmas trying to find Tickle Me Elmo? Well, I did not find Tickle Me Elmo. I think both of them finally showed up for the April birthday, which is probably where we ended up getting the supply back and getting it for them. But I love those two, and I would really do anything. Without saying, and as most of you have already said before today, my niece Aesha was a very beautiful, intelligent, and engaging young woman with a promising career and unlimited capacity for giving back to others. Not to mention, she was a dear and supporting friend to others, as you'll hear from the wives. And we can't forget, as many of you have already said, that Aesha deeply loved food, tasting new dishes. I wasn't very familiar with the cupcakes, but I knew pizza was one of her favorites. And I always was amazed that whenever they would come for the holidays or special visits, how much pizza could this slim young lady eat? Because she would do it. And my man, Ashan, oh my goodness, him and his mustard. That's all I can say. You know, in recent years, I finally remember having several in-depth adult discussions with Aesha regarding several political items, including the nation's immigration policy. And I was very surprised, and not too surprised, that Aesha had this very opinionated position, and she had done her research, and she was going to tell me her position regardless of what I wanted to hear, which was great, and it made me feel proud. And maybe I intentionally pushed her a little bit to get a response, but you know, she stood her position and gave me a justifiable argument back. I thought to myself, the little girl was all grown up. You know, staying abreast on domestic policies, world news, redesigning electrical systems and buildings, and most importantly, matured into a well-rounded woman. And how proud that made Uncle Mark feel. You know, when my sister told me about Aesha's medical situation several years ago, you know, we had all been waiting for some results of a surgical procedure. And just like several days ago, at 2:30 in the morning, I got a call from Ann, and it wasn't good news. And just like that day, almost 4 years ago, I dropped, my heart dropped. I felt totally powerless. But the only thing I can do was continue praying very hard for her good health, checking in on a regular basis with a short text or a call to Aesha, always engaging. But she never shared anything about her condition to me. She always said, "Hey, I'm doing okay." She was a brave girl, a brave young woman. And despite all and during the week before Thanksgiving, I was up here supporting my sister, and you know my sister, and with the Center for Food Equity and Medicine, which is a great cause. And I had the pleasure to spend 3 or 4 days, because Aesha was in the hospital, and we had another enjoyable time together despite the circumstances. But unlike most times that when I talked to Aesha, my dear niece was unmistakably quite quiet and not very conversational, which worried me a lot. And I called my younger sister, Lachelle, and I said I was very concerned, and where was this going? But thankfully, I spent the extra days here in Illinois to see Aesha come home from the hospital. My younger sister shared that one of Aesha's wishes was to make it to her 30th birthday. But unfortunately, she didn't make the extra 4 months to get to her birthday. But that reminded me of some quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. about the longevity of life, the quality of life. The quality, not the longevity of one's life, is what is important. Like anybody, I would love to live a long life, but longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. And secondly, and I want you to hear this, what's most persistent and urgent question is this: what are you doing for others? What are you doing for others? And I'll add by saying, how are you living your life and contributing? We all know that in 29 years, Aesha lived life to the fullest. By her generosity to others, her love for her brother, and all of which made her parents very proud, including Uncle Mark. And lastly, many of us get our own spiritual guidance from different places and different sources. But I have a dear friend who is an educator and an AME minister, and we've been friends since first grade and went through college together. And I was talking to him when my brother Spencer passed, and also when Ashan passed, about how do you continue moving on? And he said, well, I have this parishioner who has, despite her challenges in life, losing her husband and other things, she always tells me to press on, press on. So today, I just want to say I'm going to continue pressing on and praying for the well-being of the sick, the shut-in, the unfortunate, and the homeless, because Lord knows I prayed every night for Aesha's well-being and recovery. But God had a plan. I'm going to press on recruiting at college fairs, raising and supporting scholarship fundraisers, advocating for young ladies who look like Aesha to become engineers and pursue careers in the STEM field like my 2 daughters. I'm going to continue pressing on with Ann's Foundation on behalf of my lovely niece Aesha to support cancer patients in addressing their food insecurities and associated costs. In closing, like all of you, we will deeply miss Aesha's infectious smile, personality, caring spirit, and wit. But we will press on, remembering her daily, along with nephew Sean, my brother Spencer, all of whom we lost this year, and continue doing them proud. Gone too soon, but not forgotten. You fought a good fight. Now it's time for your rest. I love you, Uncle Mark. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Eric Cockle, affectionately known as E. I think every family has a person that kind of sneaks in the family and might be a little bit different. That would be the E. So I actually became a member of the Jackson family when I was dating Gwen, and Gwen and I eventually got married. And so that's how I kind of, snuck in. And one of the things that was really interesting to me, and it makes so much sense to me as you look at Aesha and her friends, is that she kind of flocks to the people that might be a little bit different. That would be the E. And so she was just an amazing, amazing young lady. There's a big difference between her and I, like she's very smart and I'm not. And she would be educating me on all these different topics and subjects. I remember one time the pandemic was just like this big deal, and everybody was freaking out, of course. And so Aesha, to the previous points about doing her research and all these different things, I mean, I didn't need CNN, like I didn't need Dr. Fauci, I had Aesha. And so Aesha would be like, well, E, you gotta get an N95 because those cheap Walgreens masks, they're not gonna protect you. And and she was telling me about all the different particles and how close people could get to you and all of that. So my daily Dr. Fauci updates would be something that I'll never forget about just how wicked smart she was. And I remember this one time, like, I just can see her all the time walking in the house going, hi, Auntie Gwen. Hey, E. I was like, hey, Aesha, how you doing? And so the E started, he was like, he wanted to throw a party, right? Because that's just kind of what I do. And so it was really important to me because this party is going to be made up of three main elements that are impactful. You got to have a DJ. Well, I had two DJs. You had to have food. We had a lot of food. But that main element was the drinks, right? Like you got to have drinks. And Gwen is blessed to be a pretty good bartender. She knows how to mix up drinks very well. So she was like, I'm going to be the bartender for your party, E. I'm like, that's going to be great. But you're going to need some help. There's going to be a lot of people. And so Aesha was like, I'm going to help E. I'm going to be the assistant. I'm like, Aesha, like, this is one of the most important jobs at this party is to be making the drinks because I got some friends and they drink. And so Gwen gives her a 30-minute, teaching, training on bartending 101, how to make the drinks, how to mix the drinks, and all of that stuff. And Aesha was just over there. She was making the drinks. And so it was slamming, right? And so I'm looking around the party, and I'm like, I see Gwen. And I'm like, oh, man, Gwen, she not making drinks. Well, who making the drinks? It was like, Aesha. So my buddies was like, E, man. I was like, Gwen was making drinks. They was like, I said, you get a drink from Gwen? They was like, man, I don't go to Gwen. I go to her. she the one that's making the drinks. And I mean, and she wasn't regulating none. She was pouring them good. And so that was just like, she was just so like quick to just pick up and train and learn. And she had a spirit of excellence, right, in everything that she did. And to the previous points that were made, she never complained about anything. And you would see her at all the events, right, and you knew she was sick. and she would always be serving others. And that is just something about her that I just cannot get out of my mind, is how much she focused on other people. And someone once told me, when you focus on others, others can focus on you. And she lived a life of service and helping others, which of course comes from the seed of her parents. And one thing that I thought was really, really interesting about this week that really resonated with me was that I heard so many stories about different people saying, I was gonna miss this for today. Like, I took PTO day, I took off my job, I rearranged my schedule, I did all these different things because I had to be here today. And so my last point is about all of us. Like, all of us, we're here today, and we're not here as witnesses, right? We're here because we've been assigned to be here. And when you're assigned to be somewhere, there's a level of responsibility that comes with an assignment. And with our assignment, today you feel the love, you feel the energy, you feel, all the greatness that surrounds and permeates this room. But tomorrow, that's when the family's gonna need you the most. In 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days, in 120 days. And so those who may be spiritual, if you pray, they're gonna really need those prayers. For those who call, hey, pick up the phone, give them a call. Those who text, pick up the text and send them a text. And for those who visit, continue to visit. But just remember that all of us have a responsibility to this family because we're here and we've been assigned to be here. And I just know for me personally, I take my assignments very seriously, and I'm sure you all will as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Meredith, Aesha's wife. And I have with me Sharon, Melanie, and Maria, also Aesha's wives. There's a lot of lore about our relationship, and to this day we debate the details of our origin story, but a few key facts are certain. We all met during our first year of college. Some of us were next-door neighbors or classmates, and we all remember a mutual intimidation of one another, which I will reclassify today as awe. Eventually, we all ended up as teammates on the women's soccer team. Over the course of the first season of soccer and first year as college students, we all bonded in different ways and for different reasons with one another. For example, Mel and I would get takeout Thai and watch reality TV. Maria and I did every single off-season workout together. Cher and I partied. And Aesha and I would sit in our dorm building doing homework and talking about the world together for hours. And of course, we all bonded as a group through mutual suffering during conditioning practices, followed by freezing walks, or waddles in Aesha's case, back to the dorms. Sometime over the course of that year, we all fell in love with one another. We all have different moments when we knew. For me, it was when Aesha and Maria showed up at the campus library with an apple turnover, the only thing I liked to eat from the dining hall, while I was studying for finals fall semester. Over the course of the year, all of our love for one another grew, to the point that friend didn't feel like a worthy word for our relationship anymore. And it culminated at a dinner party that Aesha had organized as an end-of-year celebration for about 30 people. And this is where it gets a little bit murky. But one of us proposed to another, kind of as a joke, which set off a chain of proposals among the group. And from that day on, we weren't friends, we were wives. And we've been married for the last 11 years. It can be hard to speak to the magnitude of the love that I feel for my wives, and it can be even harder to communicate our love to outsiders because we're all a little crazy about one another. So when, as a group, we were trying to come up with what to say today, the idea of writing about Aesha to others didn't feel right. So instead, we've written a letter to our wife with the things we want to say to her, and we'll try to provide some context for you all where we can. To Aesha, our best friend and loving wife, thank you for bringing us together and for loving our 18-year-old selves, who all had a lot of growing to do. I don't know exactly what you saw in each of us way back when that made you decide we were worthy of your time, but I'm infinitely grateful for it. I know I speak for the group when I say that who I am today has so much to do with your influence. Your one-of-a-kind ability to gracefully guide a person toward their best self while simultaneously loving them exactly as they are will forever be missed. To be loved by you is an incredible thing because the people you loved are incredible. I've already touched on the awe I feel for my wives, but the friends and role models of yours that I've met this week, and the ones I already know, reinforce this for me. You knew how to pick them. I like to think I'm a good judge of character, but you knew how to judge a person's potential. You collected a bunch of diamonds, some of us more in the rough than others, and polished every single one of us. I feel so lucky to have been part of your collection, knowing that you cared about every facet of me. Thank you for forming one of the most important communities in my life and for nurturing it these past 11 years. I watched you do it for the wives and for countless other communities you supported.
Aesha, we'd like to thank you for your contributions on important wife committees, such as the Partner Approval Committee and the Archival Committee. As our head historian, you loved us so thoroughly through your attention to detail, both about who we are and our time together. Since we've written this letter without your guidance, it's possible that the details of our stories within it, like which year it was, or who was there, or where we went to breakfast that day, or what shoes I was wearing, are entirely inaccurate because you were the one that remembered them all. Thank you for remembering facets of myself that I've forgotten. You knew what I ordered at a restaurant that we went to once 5 years ago, the starting lineup at a given soccer game, or where the wives were when Hairspray Live premiered on television. And honestly, if your memory was ever wrong, you said things with such confidence that we would not have known the difference. You paid attention to every minute that we spent together, and you remembered every detail of us. You knew when Sharon had her period and would need dark chocolate cupcakes from Sprinkles. You and I had a tradition of spending Valentine's Day together, and I'll always remember the year you tracked down where my favorite restaurant had relocated to. That attention to detail also allowed you to carry very specific and enduring vendettas against anyone that slighted your wives, especially men who talked over us during business meetings. Thank you for enthusiastically listening to each of us talk for hours about random topics that you only cared about because we did, like bugs or bolts or the minutia of transformational leadership theory. To be Aesha's friend is to be known thoroughly. And when Melanie got married in 2022, the wives planned to give her a necklace to wear on her wedding day. We established a list of criteria, including the size, the color, the budget, the length, and we shared the links in a Google Doc with options and commentary. Aesha added several options, including option 6, on which she commented, "I know we're supposed to do blue, but I really think this is the winner." And I would like to add that it was also a different size, gemstone shape, and length than any other one that we looked at. So together we surveyed all the links and we made a list of finalists, expecting a free and fair democratic process, and option 6 did not make the cut. But in subsequent weeks, during individual phone calls with each of us, Aesha unabashedly campaigned for option 6, saying, "This is the one we are getting, and this one is Melanie." So the three of us were, to put it mildly, very unsure whether Will would like it, and we tried swaying Aesha to stick to the established criteria. However, because of her self-assurance and knowledge of Melanie, and a little bit because she had cancer, which gave her quite a bit of leverage. We acquiesced. We arrived on Mel's wedding day, hopeful that she would remember that it's the thought that counts. Aesha, thank you for teaching me that being a friend means being present and paying attention well enough to be confident that you know your friends better than they know themselves.
I'm Melanie, and I love the necklace. It was perfect. Told them that day. And Aesha, respectfully, we loved how stubborn and headstrong you were. You always had such a strong sense of right and wrong and keeping your word. As the wives have been reflecting this week, many of our stories can be named by a single word. The egg story has come up multiple times as an example of just how headstrong and stubborn that Aesha could be. It was 2018 on one of our wives' weekends, and Mare just bought her first car. We all went out to breakfast, and she kindly requested that we not take food to go. We were going to be touring DC for the day, and she didn't want her new car to adopt the smell of leftovers. However, when it was time to go, Aesha wanted to take her scrambled eggs with her. Mare questioned whether or not she would eat them, and Aesha insisted. We returned home, and Aesha forgot the eggs in the car. The next day, Aesha wakes up, asks Mare for her keys. She immediately walks into the garage, grabs her leftovers, which were there all night, and without a word, begins eating them on the couch. With the Aesha smirk that many who are close to her might recognize. Aesha, I cannot eat scrambled eggs without thinking of you since then, and I certainly cannot eat cold eggs at the thought of the ones that sat in Mare's car. But as silly as the story is, I know that your stubbornness stemmed from your deep sense of justice that you sought for yourself, your friends, your family, and the world. I'd like to think that you ate the eggs because you felt it was right to follow through on your word to Meredith. Throughout your life in general, I saw you consistently show up, though occasionally later than agreed upon, for how you would want others to do that for you. Aesha sought out ways to support social justice and equity in the communities that she was a part of. During her time as a summer program manager at Illinois Tech, she led an effort to require sexual harassment and assault training for program employees. In recent years, Aesha worked as a special project manager alongside her mom, who founded the Center for Food Equity in Medicine. Aesha also ensured her friends received the fairness and respect that they deserved. Aesha could listen to me vent about something for hours because she loved me. But that love also meant she would be following up on how I was taking steps to improve that situation the next time we connected. I am known for often over-involving myself and my time, especially during graduate school. She heard many stories about my challenges during this period of my life and would inquire about what I was doing to take care of myself. I don't believe I ever gave a good enough answer for her, which explains why she bought me the book, How to Do Nothing. Aesha also made sure that the people we brought into our lives knew how special we were and the kind of respect that we deserved. The day she met my now husband for dinner, I had taken a moment to walk away to the bathroom. And Tom describes that as I walked away laughing at something that was said, Aesha's face went from joy to seriousness as she threatened him if he were to ever do something to cross me. And Aesha, you had every right as you defined the standard for what an exceptional relationship is.
Aesha, your deep love for those who are special to you was embedded in your charming sense of self. You had a presence, and it felt rooted in knowing who you are and what you deserved. We love how authentically you showed up in every step of life. Through hardship and through life's challenges, you chose to pursue joy, and you chose to include us in your pursuit of joy. As you may know, Aesha was a cupcake connoisseur, and she had a passion for pie. In pursuit of the best cupcakes and pies, Aesha included many of us and many of the people she loved in her adventures around the country to taste and rate the best of the best. During college, we made many trips to Molly's and to Sprinkles in pursuit of sweet treats for Aesha. And then after graduation, Aesha kept us up to date on her tastings via very thorough video reviews of her cupcakes on Snapchat. Being present for the people she loved was also a large part of Aesha's pursuit of joy. Aesha drove me to California when I got stationed in San Diego. It was a long trip. Her insistence on showing up for me in this way did result in her first sunburn. I got her through it. But to make up for it, I was honored to teach her the finer points of highway driving, like how to maintain speed without cruise control. And when Maria was moving from Atlanta to South Bend, Aesha flew down to Atlanta for the sole purpose of accompanying her on the 10-hour drive. And again, Aesha derived joy from our joy. And on this trip, she told Maria they could switch between each other's music when they switched drivers, and then proceeded to listen to Maria's music the entire way. Not only did Aesha love to join in the joy of others, she also inspired those around her. And Aesha loved to dance. At one of our spring formals in college, the dance floor was empty when the DJ played one of her favorite songs. That night, she opened the dance floor with our wife, Melanie, to her favorite song at the time, which was Latch. And I think this is just one simple example of the power Aesha had to lead, to inspire, and to include others. To our best friend and our beloved wife, Aesha, we are so grateful you chose us to be a part of your team, to be a part of your life, and to be a part of your family. Your passion for community, your genuineness, and your advocacy, your commitment to finding joy in life, and your love for us helped us become the best versions of ourselves so far. You made us feel safe to be vulnerable, to be imperfect, and you saw us through many eras of growth. Aesha, you once told me that you had saved me in your phone as Sharon Wildflower Waymeyer, because I grow wherever I'm planted. I want you to know that your love and your friendship was what watered me. We want you to know that these 11 years with you were more than our 18-year-old selves could have imagined. I can't see through my tears, so. We will miss you every day, and we will remember the way that you loved us and your community. We promise to continue your legacy through our marriage and through our love for each other. And we will try to open up many more dance floors in your honor. With all of our love, your wives.
Thank you, guys. Next, we'll have words of comfort from Reverend Julie Van Til.
They came into this world as a package. They left this world as a package. This is a beautiful and cruel truth. As infants, they demanded twice the milk, twice the diapers, twice the cuddles. They absorbed twice the energy, attention, and love. They doubled the capacity of your minds to observe their distinct personalities and how they grew over time. They doubled the capacity of your hearts to care, comfort, guide, and attend to those bodies as they traveled their unique life paths. Without each other, Aesha and Ashan still would have left an unerasable mark on the world, but with each other, we can hardly find words to speak of the amount of gift and grief that this story holds. Old Hebrew stories tell of a woman named Naomi, who in her old age changed her name to Mara, which means bitter, after the deaths of her husband and her 2 adult sons. Mara. We got to leave space for that. In Naomi's pain, she thought it'd be best to be alone. But her daughter-in-law, Ruth, wrapped herself around Naomi and literally walked with her from one season to the next. A later writer in Hebrew scriptures, perhaps contemplating this story, gifted us with an image. So if this is too much for words today, perhaps the image will capture something. It's from Ecclesiastes. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their hard work. If either should fall, one can pick up the other. But how miserable are those who fall and don't have a companion to help them up? Also, if 2 lie down together, they can stay warm. But how can anyone stay warm alone? Also, 1 can be overpowered, but 2 together can put up resistance. A 3-ply cord doesn't easily snap. Usually that's read for romantic purposes at weddings. But as you've seen from the wives, I think the illustration of a bond that wraps itself around you and strengthens you and holds you from beginning to end can apply to any of our relationships. If anybody embodied this wisdom, it was Aesha. Maybe she knew it in her bones as a twin, always 2, never 1. This instinct animated Aesha's life. Her friends have told you she chose them. She sat next to the shy kid on the bus. She introduced herself at orientation to the stranger and decided they were friends. She enticed busy women to come together with the evergreen excuse of frozen yogurt, even though she hated frozen yogurt. Aesha showed up in the moment, present with each one of you when she was with you, wrapping you into the cord of community that she fostered. 1 strand of a cord, of a braid, of a net is pretty floppy. But think of how more wrapped together become stiffer and stronger. They don't bend as easily. They can hold more weight. They can pull more load. They take shape together, and they call each individual strand to stand up straighter, to love and believe in yourself, to show how to snap back when necessary, whether it be at a bully on the bus being mean to her brother, or at the intolerable catcalls on the street, or at unjust mistreatment at the hospital bedside. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. We ache deep in our bones today because precious strands in our communal cord have been frayed by illness and death. Aesha's physical presence, if that cord is physical, it has dissolved when we've hardly even begun to adjust to the absence of Ashan. It will take a long, long time to settle into the new shape that this familial cord, this community cord will take. You may feel like you are frayed to a hair by the weight of grief as you release the incredible, practical, loving, caregiving work that has been yours to do to hold other parts of that cord together. And you have done such good work. So in the meantime, the many strands of this community will wrap around you for strength. And thank God that strand goes far back, even beyond us, to our ancestors who have held those who have held us, so that we can hold those who will hold those who come after us. So yes, the physical cord of community continues, and in some way, the spirit of those we love within that cord is like a golden thread. I said the word dissolve about part of that rope. That's just the physical. Ashes to ash, dust to dust. But the memory and the spirit and the stories, every time you tell them, you wrap a new person into the old thread that has made you who you are. And then that part becomes part of the strength that will come after. And so, may we all, as part of that cord, hold each other, and especially as E challenged, hold this family, so that if they need to be Naomi for a time and have a little space because their edges are feeling frayed, don't you leave. You just wrap a little more loosely around them, ready to come back and tighten up that rope when they're ready. We got you. You've had us. And we will hold each other. For those who are spiritual people, the God that I believe in is a community of three. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Creator, Savior, Spirit. It is a love that wraps us all in relationship. And so if there are days when you can't even hold yourself, I believe that rope of love comes down and wraps us all together. May it be so. Amen.
And now we'll have the recessional.
Every choice, every step I make, every word, every breath I take, you're the reason my world keeps turning. Like the blood running through my veins, sunshine when there's only rain, you're the reason my heart keeps learning. I will never let go of that feeling, 'cause loving you, it makes me feel strong. And when I feel the pain, you are my healing. And I know beside you is where I belong. 'Cause loving feels like that, whoa. It will lift you up when there is a need. Loving feels like that, whoa. I thank God that it is you. We survive the highs and lows. Sometimes that is how life goes. But together I know we'll make it. I wouldn't change a single day. No one else has made me feel this way. I know you'll take care of my heart and never break it. And I will never let go of that feeling. 'Cause loving you, it makes me feel strong. And when I feel that pain, you are my healing. And I know beside you is where I belong. 'Cause loving feels like that, whoa. It is loving you's all I need. Loving feels like that, whoa. I thank God it is you who's loving me. Thank you for love. Thank you for love. Thank you for love. Thank you for love. Thank you for your smile. Thank you for the tears. Thank you for being who you are through all those years. Thank you for the joy. You're the reason why. I thank you for loving you've brought to my life. Loving feels like that, whoa. Love lifts you up when you're in need. Loving feels like that, whoa. I thank God it is you who's loving me. Loving feels like that, whoa. It will lift you up when you're in need. Loving feels like that, whoa. I thank God it is you who's loving me.
Like to Aubrey and Anne, or Aubrey?
I want to start out by saying thank you. To everybody who is here, but more importantly, for the ability to be here. I'm sorry that we're all here together like this again, but if we had to be, I'm glad it's here. Anne's foundation is housed here. It went from our lower part of our house, where we had boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff everywhere, to here. Because we got the support, she had the support she needed in order to serve other people. That was made possible as they have expanded their ability to be able to feed other people with cancer diagnoses, because we are here. My daughter, and I know I'm going to embarrass her by saying this, but our master ceremony, when we first met Priya, Aesha was really sick. I mean, really. But because of Priya's expertise and attention to detail and her fabulous skill, Aesha was able to recover. We might have lost her quite a while ago, if not for Priya. I know I'm embarrassing her, and I'm sure she didn't want me to say that, but I had to. So I just wanted to say thank you. Everybody. Now, I brought my oldest guy up here. I'm turning away from the mic. You can tell I'm not a speaker. I brought my oldest guy up here for support, and I may need support from another guy. So here we go. Thank you. And there came a day like no other. AA, thought I forgot that. Aesha May. Aesha Louise Jackson came into our plane of existence. After she had room, because her roommate had already left, you've heard all these stories about what I would euphemistically call willfulness. She was very, stubborn's the word. So when Sean vacated, Aesha wasn't going to come in the normal way. She stood straight up because she was going to walk out. Now, as you've heard other speakers talk, my daughter could be quite hard to convince. It took a fair amount of convincing that that's not the way to arrive. You have to be turned, and it took a minute to convince her, but she finally, she got with the program and said, okay, I'll do it your way, but next time. She, over the course of her life, did have this tremendous willpower. She always had to be convinced. There are people, and I think Uncle Mark hit the mark there, there are people who attempted to have arguments with her. And these people did not have their facts together. And she, after they were done debating the issues, and she had been so well versed, and you never get into an argument with somebody who is already done their research, and she's always done her research on whatever it is she's going to debate you about. These people, let's say at the end of the argument, they were pretty well jacked up. I mean, you could tell they had been in a fight. You could tell that, and they had been in a fight that they lost really badly. Because at the end of the argument, when people start stuttering and kind of, it's kind of over. And I think to some degree, she kind of relished that. She really did like to debate. But she was a good soul. She really, there are a lot of things that have been recounted here that, I could, tell stories from a parent's perspective. But, she really did have a good soul. I mean, she really did care about people. She really, that seemed to be her life's ambition. I'm happy for all the memories that people have shared here, but I think what I would like to emphasize a little bit more is what her story is going to mean for me as we go forward. Many of the things we've talked about, people's experiences and people's history with her, but I think what is important for me is, since we are here today in this unprecedented manner, at least for me, as an engineer, engineers got to solve for X. And certainly me, if I can't solve for X, that messes me up. And I'm kind of messed up now because I can't solve for X, but I think I can approximate the solution. I need to be able to derive from this something that I can do. Everyone has come up to me and said, what can we do? We're here for you, and things like that. And I know you heard me at Sean's service where I said, well, don't bring me any more food because we can't eat all that. We got more food than we need. It's only the two of us, and we can't do that. And at the other service, much like I feel this one, there is this thread that ran through both of my children, and as you heard as strongly through Aesha, that there is, and I'm proud to say, maybe they got it more from their mom than me, but there is this sense of justice that these guys had. There is this sense of fairness that they believed in. There is this, I want to do good for other people. As sick as Aesha was, she constantly worked in the background. She couldn't, physically do things, but my baby was the master planner. And there's a no prize in that for anybody who could tell me you don't count. There's a no prize in that for anybody who could tell me where that reference came from. She, as you heard throughout all of these remarks, that was her thing. She was an engineer, but as I think back about it, because there are stories that didn't come out of this, she had this instinct to be the master planner. While she was in engineering school, and her mom and I kind of lamented this, she decided that she wanted to be, now IIT had plays, who knew? A tech school that had plays. She wanted to be the director for the plays because she thought that they kind of sucked, and I guess she felt like she had to fix them. And, it was, we tried to say, well, left brain, right brain, she wants to develop them both, but it's like, baby, that engineering degree is costing us quite a bit, so we need to finish this. But she was dogged about doing this because this master planner thing, she had this way of organizing things. Now, I have to throw a caveat in there. Maybe not her room so well, but people, she that was her thing. That was her thing. And after, all of these stories and different people's experiences, because we're looking at it through the lens of parents, like, okay, you want to be an engineer, we got to get this degree, this is expensive, let's get done. But the totality of her was this thing like, yeah, I like that engineering stuff, but, I really want to move people around. And she really stuck to that. And so, again, as sick as she was planning, directing, trying, striving to help other people. I can't think of greater inspiration for me than that. The last time we were together, I conscripted everybody into my Justice League. However, as my wife likes to say, because of the outcome, it doesn't sound like I set you up correctly for success. So, unfortunately, I am here again, but I am going to take the opportunity this time. Because as an engineer, I may not see the metaphysical in the way people do. Because I got to solve for X. I mean, energy, power, time, F equals ma, force equals mass, time, acceleration. That is the way I see the world. That is the way I think about things. So, for me, I look out and I have seen and felt the energy in the room, the power of the people who are willing to do the right thing. One of the selections, love being in need of love today, was purposely selected because, well, it's kind of obviously true. But that energy, that love, comes from those who love us, those who love Aesha, but from the inspiration of the stories that people have told here today. So, as sick as she was, I keep going back to this. Cupcatia, in brightest day, through the darkest night, used the power of her agency to try to do what was right. Because she was my hero. Son, over here. You can go right in front of Aesha, right there. Right in front of Aesha. Everybody knows that, I am a superhero nerd. And when I see the world in those terms, and I'm sorry, I don't see the world, like everybody else. I see the world in those terms. And when I think about how Aesha lived her life and how she tried to use the power of her agency, I can only think of one thing. Superhero 101. Oh, they can't hear you. One more time. Thank you, son. All of us here have great power, whether you think about it or not. All of us here have great responsibility that we may not take as seriously as we think we should. So I'm going to try this conscription thing again. For me, I also like flowery literature or flowery language, like, some of the King quotes I mentioned last time, about, how the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. But as an engineer, I know nothing bends until you bend it. Superman didn't bend steel in his bare hands until he actually bent it. Now, we may not be able to do that individually, but we can do that collectively. So this time, I am going to set you up for success better. I am everybody who's watching, everybody who is here. You are conscripted into my Bend the Arc society. Because if we don't bend the arc, who's going to do it? All the stories about Aesha and all of the recounting about what she did and how she lived are wonderful stories, but there's a future that I have to look for, or I have to look to, because after this, I've got to have a direction. I've got to have more of a purpose. Many things, as I stand here today, as I look out over tomorrow, I'm not sure that they make a difference, but this makes a difference to me. So if you want to help me, you must come to me and sign up for my Bend the Arc Society, because we are going to bend the arc. There are too many things that are happening and will happen over the next few years that require us to form coalition. Everyone is in some group, some church, individually doing their own thing, but we must do something collectively, continuously, constantly, in order to make a difference. The arc don't bend unless we bend it. Never will bend unless we bend it. And honestly, I'm going to say it anyway, I'm tired of waiting for it to bend. It is up to us to bend it. So find me. I expect you to find me. If you want to do something for me, find me and sign up for this. I don't know what we do. I don't have the answers. But I do know that each of us, in our own individual way, is trying to do something. And what that means for us collectively, I'm not exactly sure, but I want us to form coalitions so that we can move forward to do something in the mass. So find me. I'll figure this out. I have to solve for X. Lastly, and I got through this okay. Lastly, and it's going to take me a minute to set up, I just want to say that I have a last remembrance that I want to share. And give me a minute to set it up. At the Center for Food Equity in Medicine, for those of you who missed the party, there was a wonderful 80s party. There are about 12 LL Cool J's there. Wait, who are you, Sid Vicious? Who was the guy with the hair? Who was the rocker you did? Yo, no, just some generic, okay, all right. But there were like 12 LL Cool J's there. I was almost one, because we went out looking for a car. I didn't have anything to wear. It's like, what are you gonna wear? Oh, we can wear that. And then I'm glad I actually did, because there were 12 other guys who must have had the same idea. They ended up at the party in the same way. But it was very nice. It was very nice. And Aesha was very instrumental in helping to bring it about. And as her friends have said, Aesha really did like to dance. I mean, she really, really, that was her thing. At every party we've been to, she really, really, she liked to dance. I mean, she would dance at every party. And at this party, she really wasn't feeling that well. But she danced throughout the whole party with everybody. And it was just wonderful. It was just recently. And like I said, she danced throughout the whole party. She got tired, but she got back on the dance floor. Everybody, and there's video evidence that is around. There are a lot of people who were dancing. Everybody was dancing in their own, 1980s costumes, and it was really, really nice. So what I would like to do, if I can get this thing to work the way I want, which I think I will, is to share something with you, and I hope it doesn't blow out the speaker, but I want to share something with you that was a very special moment for me with her. I know, technical difficulties. You send these nerds. So I'm going to ask my wife to come up, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to ask everybody to get their Revenge of the Nerd machine out. Yes. The Revenge of the Nerd machine. Everybody got one. All of you got one. I'm going to ask in 1 second that we dim the lights. I'm going to ask everyone to stand. Okay, if you got your Revenge of the Nerd machine out, I'm going to ask you to find your flashlight function, turn it on. Okay. Are you on? Yes. That's okay. All right? Everybody got their flashlights on? Find the person that is nearest to you that you care about. I'm going to bring my wife and my son up.
Did you get this a drink?
Come on, you know what to do.
How you doing?
Because this is the last dance that Aesha and I did. This dance, I want to share with you my last dance with my daughter. She was so tired that she just hung on to me, and we just swayed to Purple Rain. So I want to close out with that. I'm not playing the whole song, but you get the message.
Now, the nerds did us all a favor because if you had had lighters, that would be a fire hazard. Ready? Nope, we're gonna finish this out. I'm not finished. All right, I want to thank you for listening to me and sharing the last dance with my daughter through the purple rain. You can bring the lights back up. Thank you. Thanks.
Wonderful people in your life. It's also just a really great day. You know, the sun is shining, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it is just one of those perfect, innocuous days that more than anything, I cannot stress how much I love spending time with my sister and spending time with you all. Not gonna lie, after all, for everything, I'm sure as my dad has eloquently said, I didn't have any idea about this going on. Now, for those of y'all who live around the Flossmoor area, the minute that we made the turn here, I was thinking, all right, we're either going to Irons Oaks or we're going to the Marcus movie theater. And I'm pretty sure we aren't going to the Marcus movie theater, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna see what happens, especially since we didn't go on the highway, so we're not going to Chicago. So I'm like, okay, that narrows down a couple of options. But even then, jokes inside with everything, and especially with how much planning, dedication, and just overall just the amount of love that went into scheduling this, and especially with my dear twin sister setting all this up and even still dealing with her, all of her stuff and everything else that's been going on. It's amazing. And I'm so glad that I get to spend that every year, and I am so glad that I get to share a birthday with you and just seeing how amazing you are and just how amazing and resilient we have as a loving and supporting community, especially with everything that's gone on with us for these past couple years, with me being sick, mom being sick, and then with Aesha now, you know, dealing with her stuff. And trying my best not to cry. Promising myself I'm not gonna cry. Trying my best not to cry. But I love you. And I think plain and simple, out of all the other flowery words and how I can ham up everything else, I think it always still boils down to 3 words. I love you, and I'll always love you. Aww. And that's really all I have to say.
Boils down to 3 simple words. I love you. They mattered to you, you mattered to them. As we proceed from this place, we'll be committing her body to its resting place, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Her spirit goes wrapped in a cord of love with you into our future together, with a purpose to bend the arc of justice. So find him. There's a memorial luncheon following the internment. So if you're going to the graveside, that will be in Glenwood, Illinois. But then the memorial luncheon will be at Fox's Pizza and Irish Pub in Orland Park. Fox's Pizza and Irish Pub, 3:30 to 5:30 in Orland Park. Mr. William?
Family and friends, just a few announcements and instructions. At this time, we're getting ready to make our departure to Assumption Catholic Cemetery, which is located on 19500 South Cottage Grove Avenue, Glenwood, Illinois. You can receive a sticker from one of the directors. If you will be traveling, I ask that you place it in your passenger window. Remember to turn on your headlights and emergency flashers. It's about a 20-minute drive, so if you do need to use the washroom, you will have a few minutes to do so before we do depart. And at this time, I'm going to ask if I can possibly get a few ladies and gentlemen to assist with the flowers, about maybe 10 or 12, preferably non-family members at this time. And if you are a designated pallbearer, I'm going to ask that you meet us by the steps outside of just from the entrance of the church. Thank you.
Again, if we could get people to come forward and help with the flowers, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send your love right away. You know that hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. Don't you stop before it's gone too far. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, right away. Hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop there, please, before it's gone too far. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hate's gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop there, please. gone too far. Oh, our love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Haze gone round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far. Oh. Love's in need of a love today. Don't delay, send yours in